Hi everyone! In today's video I wanted to talk a little bit about health. Now we know it's the month of January where everybody's kind of focusing on their health and getting better and feeling more energized, etc. But for me the beginning of the year hasn't been too great. If I'm honest with you, I haven't felt very well for the last couple of weeks. And anybody that knows my background and my story knows that I had struggled with anxiety and depression and had a nervous breakdown about 15 years ago. And I'll share a bit more about that in another video. But since having that breakdown, my health hasn't been as great as I would have liked. And it's been a challenge for me for the last 15 years. I've managed to overcome the breakdown, and the depression and the anxiety are a lot better than what they were, so I'm truly grateful for that. Over the last couple of weeks I've not been feeling too great, and I've associated it with maybe still some of the symptoms from the anxiety, etc. And I've been feeling kind of really tired, my head's really heavy, my concentration's really bad, my memory is really bad. So many things that have been bothering me over the last couple of weeks and just been feeling just not great. And so it's not been as good a start to 2017 as I would have liked. And I thought about going for a full health check and going to maybe Bupa or somewhere to get full blood tests and everything else. And as much as I love doctors, I think they're great and I think they do a fantastic job, I know that if I just go to my local doctor, they're just going to do the general tests, which is not necessarily going to flag up anything different to what they've done before. So I thought maybe by going to somewhere like Bupa, they'll do further tests and that will flag something up. But there was something in me that said, I think you need something else. And I think you need maybe a more holistic approach to what's going on. A friend of mine recommended that I see a lady who deals more holistically with what's going on with the body, because it's so important that the body is balanced in all areas. And it was such an interesting time that I spent with her, because just by doing some simple tests, she flagged up that there was a problem with my liver, that I had some food intolerances, that I was lacking in certain vitamins, and she did no blood tests, anything like that. And it was just incredible how she managed to diagnose these things. She used a method called kinesiology. I don't know if you've heard of it or know anything about it, but if you Google it, you'll get more details. I won't go into it in depth now. It's the way the Chinese look at the body and getting the body back in balance, and looking at the energy of the body, etc., and the meridians of the body. So if you Google it, you'll find more information. But I was quite stunned at how she could kind of diagnose what was going wrong without actually doing a blood test or anything like that. So we're looking at ways of how I can get the body back into balance by, cutting out certain foods and taking certain vitamins, etc. I'm just working on getting the balance back into the body. And I remember when I interviewed Paula White last year, and she shared with me a time when she didn't feel very well, and how she ended up speaking to a holistic doctor about her symptoms and what they suggested to her. So take a look at the interview I did with Paula White and see what she had to do when she discovered she had a health problem.
And I love the fact that you talked about health as well, because the concept of my show is about helping people to maximise their time and balance their life. And I believe there's 7 key areas to do that. So work, health, relationships, spirituality, etc. And we do well in work, and we're very top heavy for work, but when it comes to all the other areas, we don't do so well. So how do you manage to balance all of that? Because you're so busy all the time.
You have to set boundaries in your life. It's as important to know what to say no to as what to say yes to. And I realized early on that I felt this tremendous call of God. I knew that it would take a tremendous, I admittedly can be very much a workaholic, and work, I love do it because it doesn't feel like work to me. I love what I do. I've always been a high energy person, but I recognized that it was important if I were to truly fulfill this mandate that I felt was by God and take the message around the world, I had to be in good health. Because what if I had a strong spirit and a strong soul, but my body broke on me? And I watched that happen to people that I loved, that they physically broke down. and they could not carry that message. So to me, health and wellness became not an option. It was a compulsory, it was a mandate in my life, because I saw it as a responsibility that I had to the Lord, just as much as bringing my tithe into the storehouse. I mean, this sounds funny, but it was so true, because I think especially as believers and Christians, it's the one area that we've kind of stayed ignorant in, unlearned in, and we've said, okay, we don't do this, and so therefore we can eat all this fried food and do all this crazy stuff. But I picked up something almost, 25 years ago or so. Years ago, I was doing some missionary work in Africa, and I picked up things, and they sent me to all the specialists. I went to Mayo Clinic, and they sent me, it ended up getting in my lungs and infectious, and so I went to all these doctors and infectious disease doctors, and they put me on all these meds and all this stuff, and it ended up in a weird way being one of the greatest blessings of my life, because I landed with a holistic doctor who was a medical doctor, but asked me simple questions, and probably I'm getting way too vulnerable here, but asked me stuff like, how often do you go to the bathroom? How much water are you drinking? What's your sleep patterns? Just basic stuff. And I'm thinking, like, how often do I go to the bathroom? What's the importance of that? And he taught me very basics on health and wellness and nutrition. And so every year I do my blood chemistry, what vitamins I'm lacking, what I'm doing. I understand you repair your body from 10 to 2. I understand the importance of sleep. Whether I apply it all the time or not, I do have knowledge of it. And I see it as a responsibility.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I'm going to take some of that on board, because I think that's one of the areas where, well, all of it on board, sorry, because that's one of the areas where I maybe don't do so well, is with the health and everything. I'm a workaholic as well, so I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I think until our body breaks on us, we take it for granted. We take our health for granted until, something will take your breath away that says, wow, this is a gift just as much as anything else.
I agree.
So it's important that when you don't feel well, that you look at how to get the body back into balance. Obviously, if you need medication, if you need to go to the doctor, if you need tests, etc., then yeah, absolutely, you have to make sure that you do all the tests, all the checks to make sure there's nothing really serious going wrong. But it's important to also look at how to get the body back into balance, because it could be something that's stress related, it could be something where you're deficient in vitamins, some part of the body isn't quite functioning properly. There could be a number of different factors, and I think it's so important to look at the body as a whole, rather than just looking at one problem and then just dealing with that one problem. If you want to see more of the interview I did with Paula White, then I will put all the links below and above, etc., so you'll be able to go and watch that. And please make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'll be doing 2 videos a week. And also let me know, what do you do when you're not feeling so great? If you're feeling a bit tired, or if you're a bit run down, or you're just generally not feeling as good as you would like, let me know in the comments section below, what do you do to make yourself feel better? And I shall see you next time.